Hi and welcome back here to YouTube with tips and tricks about metal shaping. This is my 150th video here on YouTube, and many of you have watched my video many times, and I appreciate that, and I hope that will help you and get inspiration to do more stuff. I have asked people what they want to see more of, and people have commented, and thank you so much for that. But people said that whatever they learn, it doesn't matter so much what it is, as long as it is something that they can learn from, they can apply that to different things in on their project or what they're working on. But one thing that I have struggled with in my past is, where do I start? And I know what I need to do, but how do I start, and how do I come out with the right size so I can cut that size out and start with that, and when I'm done with the piece, it's just very little extra material that I need to deal with, and I can trim that off. So that had been a big issue for me doing metal shaping. Of course, to use the bead roller, shrink and stretcher, and the English wheel is a big part as well. But the layout where you start, that's where you can struggle with a lot. So on this video I have a piece, a fiberglass piece that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to do the layout on top of the rear quarter panel for a 33 Roadster, and the piece that is between the vertical piece and into the trunk lid on top there. And I know it's people out there that they're converting 4-doors to coupes now, especially 5-window coupes. You can see them lots of that on Facebook, and I think it's a great thing. If they want a coupe, they can do that. So I think this video will help those people as well, and even you, to see the principle with the layouts. So let's take a look at that. So this is what I have as a start, and I would like to duplicate this, but of course make it in steel. Fiberglass, I never worked with fiberglass, and I never been there, so I don't know what it is like, but metal is metal, and I can weld to metal and stuff like that. So, this came from a wrecked car, but I saw that I could use it as a template for my Roadster, because you know that 33, 34 Roadsters, they are hard to find. So you see that I already put some tapes here, and this piece, the rear quarter panel, you probably have seen that on pictures and on videos before. This one will be to about 7/16 above, or a ½ inch above the bead. So far up this will be. When I make this layout for this, I'm going to make it down to the bead. So when I make the whole piece, I can overlap this, so this top piece here in the middle goes all the way down to the bead. And then I can clamp it there, or put screws or clecos, and then I can scribe it from the inside, and I can cut that exactly, and I got a nice fit there. The piece that I'm going to show you on this part here is actually this piece between here and there. It would be a very long piece to do this in one piece, and I think I'm going to do it to here, and I can make that pretty quick, and then I can make this piece here pretty quick as well, and then just TIG weld it here, and that takes 5-10 minutes to TIG weld this together. I probably could do it in one piece, but it's a long piece to use in the English wheel and wheel it there. So I think I'm going to do it there. I find out that the length between the stations here, it's 6 inches. And on a big piece like this, if it's close together, the templates will be so close to each other. If it's further apart, it will be hard to see the difference. So I find out the medium here, that is 6 inches between this. this is not the pieces that I'm going to make that long. No, I have those templates here. On each let me take this off. So we can start with number 1 is on those are made for a coupe. So number 1 is actually up somewhere here for a coupe. Yeah, it probably should be around there. So number 2 is the first one that is going to be on this piece. And this number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's good to put numbers on those as well. When you make those pieces, use cut strips, 3/4 inch strips from 18 gauge sheet metal, and then you use the stretcher and stretch this edge, then the inside will be smooth. Instead of shrinking this, because then it's going to be a little rough on the edge here from the shrinking, because you're compressing metal and it comes down little metal here and it's not 100% smooth, and then you need to grind it. But if you use the stretch on this side, on the outside, then it will work much better. Don't make them in 19 gauge or 1 millimeter thick, because it moves so quick with shrink and the stretcher. And I cut out the wrong material one time for the class, and the student, they will struggle with making that. And I, what's going on there? We never had that problem before. And I find out that I cut out the wrong metal. So use 18 gauge for strips like this. And then you number the tapes and you put the number on those, so you know exactly where those goes. And then when you do the paper layout, you can also mark it out on the paper where the number is there. So I think that is the start for this one. So let's go over to the paper layout now, so you can see actually what's going on. When you do it in paper first, you see exactly what you need to do for the metal. So let's take a look at that. So I prepared with a little paper, and it wasn't long enough, so I taped another piece on there. This is fiberglass, so if this was pretty thick, I don't know who made this, but it was pretty thick. And normally I can take 2 earth magnets and put one on each side to hold the paper, but it wasn't enough for this fiberglass because it was so thick. It sticks there, but to hold the paper as well, it didn't work. So I'm going to do it a different way. So I'm going to use tape on this edge that goes into the trunk lid. So let's do this. So I line it up with the edge that goes into the trunk lid. And I probably need to tape all the way here, so so this takes a little time to do this, but it's worth it, because if you cut out the metal and going to start bend it and going to wheel it in the English wheel, it's never going to come out nice. At least not in my opinion and with my experience. But if I do it with paper, then it shows me exactly what's going on the paper, and I can apply that to the metal when I make it in metal. So there we have it. And now you can see that if I start fold this paper over, it's going to wrinkle all over. So the next step now is to pie cut it from that side so the paper can overlap. And when I do that, you can see how this start unfolding down. When I cut this, it doesn't mean that it's going to shrink each cut. The cuts only show how far in I need to go when I make this with the shrinker. And I'm going to show you two different ways to do it as well. So let's do this cut in here. So that one is good there. You see, I don't have any bubbles there. So that one is good so far in there. Then I do almost the same length between them. That one is also okay. So let's keep going and see how far we can go with this. This one, it looks like I need to go a little further in. I think it has to do with that it's more narrow to the back there, so that's why I need to continue, cut a little further in. If I don't, then I'm going to get the bubbles. And the bubble tells you that you need to go further in. There I can see that this one needs to come in a little further in as well. So I think I'm going to, yeah, so we can show this, I think I'm going to put a little tape here and then we can overlap. But you see here I can't bend it, so I need to cut. I go a little closer between the cuts now. You can always cut a little further in if you don't cut enough from the beginning. So I think I'll start with the first one there. And then you can see now that they're overlapping. I have a little bubble, but if I go this way with my hand, then I can get rid of the bubble. So let me go after a pen so I can start mark this one out. So here is the bead. And that's what I'm interested to know where the bead is. And it helps to go with a nail first, or say, yeah, go with your nail and mark it out before you do it with a pen. And as I said, I mark it to the bead, but the rear quarter panel, the size comes up about 7/16 or 3.5 inch up, so that is okay. That this is a little longer, and then when I make them in metal, I can overlap them and then I can scribe it. So I have a little overlap with about 7/16 when I'm done with the piece. it's pretty easy to find the bead, the groove on the bead. There we go. So now you can actually see the size of the panel taking shape. So let me take a scissor here and cut this off. This is not so critical, the length on this, because we have overlap to the next piece, to the vertical part of the rear quarter panel, so this is not critical at all. One more. So you see that this part here takes a few minutes to make, but it's pretty simple, and you're saving so much time when you do it in metal. I see that this one could be cut in a little further in, so let me do that. I could feel a little bubble. Like that. For the trunk lid, that the edge that goes into the trunk lid, I prefer to mark it out here that I will say plus 1 inch. Then I know when I lay this out on a table and I'm going to cut out the metal for it, that I need 1 more inch to this edge. So I could bend that in and then shrink that to that template there. So that's give you an idea about the size of the panel that you need to cut out, that you need to start with, but it also gives you an idea how far in you need to go with the shrinker when you shrink it. Here's another trick. If you only have the small shrinker available, which I had long time ago when I made that black coupe that you see, the 3-window coupe that you see in the background there, I only had the small shrinker, so I could only shrink it about 1 inch in here. And of course I couldn't create that shape with the shrinker. So what I did in that time, I stretched this part up instead and over this edge in the English wheel. So I helped it to get that curve right, but then I wheeled this part up more on the edge and over this edge, so I could create this shape here until I get all the templates to fit. So it's 2 different ways you can do it. You can do it that way if you only have access to the small shrinker. It is possible to do. It's a little harder to control. It will take a little longer time, but it can be done. But today I have the deep shrinker stretcher. That means that I can go in from this edge and I can shrink it 5.5 inch in deep and create the shape. But here's another trick. Here I need to go in more than 5.5 inch deep. So am I stuck there, or can I do something? Yeah, I can go in from this side and shrink it, the missing 1.5 inch in there. I can go in from this area and shrink that part there, because I couldn't reach in from that. I can reach in from this area. The metal doesn't know which side I go in from and shrinking, so it doesn't matter as long as I'm shrinking in the same spot. as I should have done from this area, but I couldn't reach in, but I can reach in from this area. Because this flange is the last thing I do after I have created the shape. So it is possible to do it with a small shrinker. So if you're a guy out there, you have an English wheel, you have a bead roller, but you only have the small shrinker, it's okay, you can make it. Just think outside the box a little bit. So I think that's what this is about. And then I'm going to take this off and put it on the table so you can see what the size looks like. So let's take this off. And it just tapes, so. And I'm really happy with the idea to do it with paper because it's I'm saving so many hours when I make the panels if I do it with paper first. And if you cut off too much of the paper, you can always tape another piece on there. It's not a big deal. And paper is cheap. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut off the tape here so we can see the actual size. See if I can take the knife instead. So. Yeah, it works better with a knife. It was stuck in the scissor. There we go. This one I can just fold over. So there you can see the size of this, and you can see here that it's little off here. So when I cut out this in metal, I'm going to make a nice curve of that. And you must remember we have a 7/16 extra on the edge there. So to correct this, I probably do like this. Cut that little pie off, little piece off there to make it a little more nice to follow when I cut it out in metal. So now you can see this is the actual size of the pen. So this is my starting point. When I cut out this in metal, I'm not going to do it now, but when I cut out this in metal, make sure that I have an extra inch on this side, no extra material on the other side. That's fine. It's going to be enough material, because I need to, even if I'm shrinking using the deep shrinker and shrink it there, it's going to be in a curve, but it's not going to be smaller. It's not going to be more narrow because I'm shrinking it. And I have the overlap as well. So 1 inch extra here will be fine, and front and back should be fine too. This piece here will be a separate piece. So I have little overlap between those two as well. So I have material there to go. On the top part here, if I'm going to make that piece there, it's going to be a little bit overlap there, so I'm fine on the length. So this is my actual size. When I cut out the first one, what I'm going to do on a panel like that when I make it is that when I cut out the first one and I have grind this edge here, it's straight edge, and I can cut that in my shear. The inside here, that is a little curve to it, that part there, I'm going to grind that so that is smooth. When I'm done with the first piece there, so I have one, then I'm going to punch a hole in it. I'm going to punch a hole in this one, so I know that that will be my master. So I can always use that again. So I don't need to do it with paper each time I'm going to use it. I'm just going to do it one time, but it's good to have a master, because if you screw the first panel up, you have a master to cut out exactly the same one again. So remember that, don't start work on the first piece that you cut out, because you are not going to cut out exactly the same one again. But if you have one in steel, you can scribe it after that, and you can follow the scribe when you cut it out. That's what I like, and that's how I learned my lesson, because long time ago I start working with the first piece I cut out, and let's do the other side. And where is, I'm used the the master. It's always punch a hole in it, because if it's a hole in it, then you know that you can't use it. It's a sign that you can't use it. So I think that's my tips and tricks for today. Watch the video in the end here now, because I have a little short video, about 2 minutes long, about my latest creation, a piece of art that I have made, and I had lots of fun. And if you like metal shaping and you like my video here on YouTube, do more of it. When you do something that you enjoy to do, it tells you do more of it. When you do something that you don't like to do, it's the same thing. It tells you don't do more of this because you don't like it. So if you want more information about my classes or my equipment, and you can go to www.lazzemetalshaping.com. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.